Hi, in this video we will explain a little about the environmental impact of food. Let's start with some facts.
It is estimated that agriculture occupies almost 40% of the land in the world.
It is also the main responsible for deforestation and soil degradation due to the poor land management.
Actions such as overgrazing of livestock leave the soil exposed to erosive agents, water, and wine, thus ending their fertility.
Also, between 21 to 37% of greenhouse gas emissions are attributed to the food industry. This includes emissions from agriculture, land use, storage, transportation, packaging, processing, retail, and consumption.
And agricultural and livestock activities are responsible for between 9 to 14% of these emissions.
It is estimated that these emissions will grow by 40 to 50% by 2050 because of a growing demand due to the population and income growth, as well as the change in the eating patterns of developing countries.
Livestock supply chains emitted an estimation total of 8 gigatons of CO equivalents in 2010. Cattle and dairy cattle generate similar amounts of greenhouse gases,
whereas pigs, poultry, buffalo, and small ruminants have much lower emissions.
In addition, 15,000 liters of water are used to produce just 1 kilogram of beef. In comparison, 1 kilogram of cereals, fruits, or vegetables require less than 2,000 liters of water for their production.
It is for all these reasons and more that we need to adopt a sustainable diet.
A plant-based diet in which foods of animal origin are not the protagonists of our plate and local consumption becomes the norm.
In this way, we can participate in mitigating the effects of climate change,
ensuring a future where there is food security for all and protecting the most vulnerable populations from the effects of climate change.
Thanks for listening. Next, here is the recipe and elaboration of the meat substitute for making sausages that we prepare. We hope you enjoy.
Seitan sausages. For this recipe, we will need a cooking pot, pan, cutting board, aluminum foil, plastic wrap, scale, and sausage molds if available. 2 garlic cloves finely chopped, 2/3 cup of vegetable broth, half a cup of red wine, half a cup of dried porcini mushrooms, 3/4 cup of cooked black beans, 3 tablespoons of tomato puree, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, 1 tablespoon of miso paste, 1 teaspoon of dried sage, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, 1/4 teaspoon ground cloves, 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, half a teaspoon dried rosemary, 1 teaspoon dried tarragon, 1 teaspoon of sea salt, 1 tablespoon ground black pepper. For our dry ingredients, we will need 2 3/4 cups of wheat gluten and half a cup of chickpea flour. For our boiled ingredients, we will need 1 liter of water. Procedure. First, saute the onion and garlic from the wet ingredients in a skillet. Then blend together with the rest of the wet ingredients. In a bowl, mix the wheat gluten with the chickpea flour, and add the wet ingredients mixture to the boil with the gluten and chickpea flour. Mix until a dough forms, and aggressively knead the dough for 12 minutes. This is very important. Divide the dough into 10 equal parts, and mold into sausage shape and wrap in plastic wrap, rolling up the ends. Make little holes with toothpicks. Wrap in aluminum foil, rolling up the ends, and in a saucepan, add all the ingredients of the broth and bring to a boil. Once boiling, down the fire to a very slight boil. Add the sausages to the broth and cook for 1 hour 15 minutes. Check every 15 minutes that it's not boiling too hard. Remove from the heat, and you got your Seitan sausage meat substitute.